Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Paula Frayetta and I am the Youth Minister and Lay Pastoral Associate at Blessed Trinity Parish in North York. And I am here today with His Eminence Thomas Cardinal Collins in these very comfy armchairs to have a very, yes, they're great, to have a very important conversation about an issue that is wounding our world today in really heartbreaking ways. So that issue is the issue of sexual addiction and sexual sin. So I thank you. On behalf of everyone trying to thrive in this over-sexualized culture, your willingness to have this conversation brings a lot of comfort. And it's very important that the Church is stepping forward to support people in very real and concrete ways. So thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
I know in past conversation you mentioned that you're really coming to realize how pervasive the influence of the culture is and how many people really are struggling, and not excluding the faithful as well. So maybe you can comment on what are some ways that the Archdiocese can support people struggling, and maybe if you know of anything already going on that people would like to know about.
Well, I know that this is very much a problem many people are facing. One thing we've done is to have several of these issues presented to our Assembly of Priests, which we do every year, so to help them to be a little bit up to speed on that, to get to know a bit more fully and more profoundly the nature of this issue, because often they're the ones on the front line. Someone in the parish will come and speak to them about some issue like this. So we're trying to be sure that they're well informed. That's one thing we're doing. I think that there are also very important things, such as this week when we have Matt Fradd coming to speak at Blessed Trinity Parish. That's really important. He does a tremendous amount of work with this and is a tremendous speaker. And I think just that personal kind of presentation is very helpful.
Yes, very good. That's great news for anyone struggling, to know that there are opportunities to start their journey of healing or continue their journey of healing, and the Church is behind them 100%.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
What words of hope can you offer men and women struggling with various forms of sexual sin or sexual addiction like pornography?
Well, I think this is the struggle of our fallen human nature. And it is right from the very beginning of time, people have struggled with the issue with sexuality, when it is in a sense like a fire that should bring light and warmth, but it can also burn the house down. And so you've got to, it's good fundamentally. It's sexual energy, sexual reality, and of course ultimately leading in a very beautiful way to a marriage of a man and a woman, faithful in love and open to the gift of life in the great reality of marriage. But also everybody faces this in different ways and experiences this. It's part of what it is to be human. We're not robots, fortunately. And I think some saint, I forget which one, I know that St. Augustine said, "O Lord, make me chaste, but not yet."
Not yet.
But that was before his conversion, so we give him a bit of a break on that one. But also someone said that our various sexual temptations, we overcome them 10 minutes after we're dead. So I think that may be a little humor is probably a good thing in this area. But no, it's a very profound and very real dimension of life. And everybody needs to come to a harmonious living of their own sexuality, their own way in which they respond to the reality of this in their life, a part of our incarnate nature of who we are. We're incarnate spirits, and therefore part of who we are is the whole reality of the body, and the one dimension of that, of course, is sexuality. And so that's a very important thing. And I think what the Church offers is a vision of hope, that the reality that we have of our sexuality is something which is a gift of God. And it is something where the body, the spirit, the mind, all of them together need to work together in harmony. Because we are fallen human beings, we have a lot of struggles, there are often great difficulties in this. But there is a vision of hope, of freedom. St. Augustine, who knew a lot about this in his own life, he said that sometimes our compulsions of various types, including sexual ones, are like threads. They're so slight that we don't notice them until that we feel they're like ropes too strong to be broken. But of course they're not. We have a way forward, and I think in just a very positive vision of St. John Paul's theology of the body, that's a great thing for people, whatever their state of life, whether it be single or married or whatever their particular commitment. That's a tremendous gift to us. And things from that are very helpful. Various movements in the Church help people dealing with their particular situation. So I think there's a lot of hope and a lot of guidance which we're able to offer to people.
Very good. Now, you talk about Augustine a lot, and I find that great. But I think that there's a specific group of individuals who are often forgotten about and overlooked when we're having this conversation, and that would be the Monicas, right? People who, who have a loved one who are struggling, with this sin. So spouses or children, parents, girlfriends, boyfriends, they're people who carry very serious wounds that maybe aren't engaging in the sin, but have a loved one who is. So do you have any words of encouragement for those people?
Well, that's very, very true what you say. There are, because nobody is, John Donne said, no one is an island entire unto himself. Every one of us in all of our lives, in every dimension of it too, really, we affect other people. And we're not just sort of like little separate islands. Our own strengths and virtues, or our joys, or our sins and struggles being kind of contained separate. We all live in a web of relationships of love. And so very often, when people someone that they love is dealing with any kind of a struggle, it might be a struggle at work, a struggle in a relationship with another person, an internal struggle with temptation, or whatever it may be. To the degree at which a person is loved is the degree to which that struggle is shared. And so there are people, like as you mentioned, St. Monica. She saw her son go all over the place. He had all of the 7 deadly sins. He covered pretty well all of them. And so there's the famous story of her crying there in the church, and St. Ambrose, the bishop, came and said, what's there? She said, what's happening? He said, I'm praying for my son Augustine. And he said, don't worry, the son of those tears will never perish. And I often, when talking sometimes with parents who are very discouraged about some struggle, something's gone wrong in the life of their children, I always say, pray to St. Monica, because she is the great intercessor, and love and prayer are a great help. And I think when people are struggling with whatever it may be, and everyone struggles with something, to know that you are loved and that people are praying for you is a great encouragement. Pope Francis always says, every time he ends anything, he says, pray for me.
Yes.
And so I think we could always, that's a very wise thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there's too much that we can do to help people struggling in this way. And it's so comforting, as I said, to see the Church step forward and be willing to have these conversations. So thank you, Your Eminence. My prayer is that we can continue to shed light on the darkness of this issue and offer people the hope that freedom is possible, victory is possible, and they don't have to live with these chains forever. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and know of our prayers. God bless.